Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. About a minute late here. Sorry about that. We're having some issues using my iPad as a second screen, but that's okay. We're here now. So I'm glad everybody's here. If you're out there and you're using YouTube or if you're using, I believe, LinkedIn, you can post a comment. It's Facebook that kind of gives me the challenges there. But hello, welcome, come on in. So today we have kind of I think a pretty exciting live stream. Well, I like to think all the live streams are exciting, but we're going to look at how we can use ChatGPT to help us learn and to help us teach a lot more effectively. And really, what it boils down to is there's been, as ChatGPT's become more mature, it's already maturing as a product. It's really become something that we can use to do all sorts of really cool and interesting things that can help us learn. And there's really three things that I want to cover this evening. I want to take a look at just ChatGPT in terms of having it build a learning experience for us. Then I want to show you a neat trick with ChatGPT where we're actually going to use the tool to actually help us understand the tool. So we're going to go a little bit inception there, where we're going to use the tool to understand the tool. And then we're going to take a look at a very interesting plugin for ChatGPT for Chrome. So it's a Chrome plugin that's going to help us work with ChatGPT in a way that's quite useful. So I'm going to be bouncing around between a few things here. So I've got a computer here where I've got some prompts and stuff that I want to share with you. So forgive me if I'm looking around a little bit here, but we're gonna have a look with ChatGPT. The other thing that I'm going to just quickly mention here is that I may not be able to see the chat right away, just because I need to pull out a second monitor. It's not set up. So I'm going to have the window where I can see the chat a little bit hidden, but feel free to post chats in there and I'll pop in there every so often to see if somebody has a question or anything. So hopefully it does become a little bit interactive. So let's just add this into the stream. So hopefully everybody now can see the ChatGPT window, and you can see that I've got ChatGPT here. I've cleared off all my chats just so that we can have a clean experience here. And we're going to take a look at the first of the three things. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at, and I'm just going to grab some prompts here that I put aside for this evening, is how I can use ChatGPT in order to build a learning plan or a methodology in order to learn something new. Now, if you've seen my most recent video that was just published last night, this is a little bit of a repeat of some of the stuff that I covered in that video. But I also wanted to be in a situation where if somebody had questions and such, you could ask. So I'm just going to move this over a little bit to the side. We're going to get a little bit of a window in here in a second where you'll see a window inside of a window. But what I'd like to do is just move the chat over here. So you'll see the chat twice. So if there's anything in the chat there, we can grab that as well. So hopefully you guys are seeing the window here. And we've got the window in there. I'll be able to just make sure I can still zoom in and such. Perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is with ChatGPT, as you know, it's a generalized trained model for having a conversation. So it's a conversation bot, and it has become something that we're seeing used a lot in terms of education, both good and bad. People are all afraid of it. I don't think there's really nothing to be afraid about here. I think it's a great digital assistant that can help us. So in the most recent video, I was looking at maybe learning Excel, but in this demonstration, I'm going to pretend that I want to learn about something like Python. So let's say I want to learn how to program Python. I've never programmed Python before. I know it's a really popular programming language. So what I'm going to do is pop into the window here, into the chat window. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have ChatGPT generate for me a step-by-step plan to learn Python as a beginner. And what I'm going to do is maybe put this into I'm going to put this into a learning plan or a learning journal, and then I'm going to utilize this as a mechanism to learn about the subject. And in fact, you know what? Let's change. Instead of Python, let's learn about penguins. So we're going to learn about penguins tonight, but this could be any subject that you were interested in. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to ask ChatGPT. I'm going to say, create a plan. We'll make it, let's say, 6-step plan to learn about the basics of penguins. Now, I might want to go a little bit deeper into this particular chat. So I'm going to go in and let me just grab this window and zoom in a little bit here. So we'll grab that out of here, close this down. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. I'm not going to print it out. And we'll just zoom so you guys can see that a little bit better. Let me know in the chat if you can see that okay. So we're going to create a six-step plan to learn about penguins, aimed at a, let's say, college level course for students with a grade 12, and I'll say Canadian educational biology background. So the more information, if I could spell today, biology background. Now, the more information that I can provide in my initial prompt, the more rich the result set will be. I just didn't capitalize Canadian. So when I go in here, ChatGPT is now going to generate for me a complete 8-step or 6 steps plan. However, there was 6-step plan. And you can see this is a pretty good plan. It's going to start with the anatomy and the physiology of penguins. Then it's going to discuss the life cycle of penguins, on and on for this 6-step plan. Now, the only problem that I have is that if I already have some expertise here, I would be able to go through and I would be able to, start using this as a study guide, and maybe that's fine. But what I want to do is I actually want to utilize ChatGPT to create a way for me to go out and find information about penguins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's use that previous response. Now, ChatGPT knows that we're in a conversation, and this is all part of a single conversation. So I don't necessarily need to go in and specify that I want to use the previous conversation, but I'm a little bit fussy around that. So I'll say use the previous response, just so that I'm absolutely clear that I'm going to be using the previous response. Now, I didn't hit enter. Instead, I just did a shift return on the Mac keyboard, or a shift enter on Windows, because I'm going to create a series of steps that I want ChatGPT to do here. So using the previous response, I want it to create a 3-column table. And that 3-column table, so right now it's just going to create a 3-column table. And I will say in the first column, and I'm just going to quickly check here, make sure that you guys can see this. Okay, perfect. Okay. So I just want to make sure you guys are up to speed on that. So in the first column, list the objective for each step, each of the 6 steps in 7 words or less, just to keep it nice and clean. Then I'm going to say in the second column, and this is really where we get some very interesting things that we can now do with ChatGPT. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have it in that second column go out, conduct a Google search on penguins related to that objective. So what I'm going to say in the second column, I'm going to have it provide me a link to a Google search, and it could be Bing, of the objective in column 1. So what I've done is I've said, okay, in the second column, go out and do a Google search of that objective and give me a link in the second column that gives me that search result. And then I'm actually going to copy that. I'm just going to take the exact same wording here, and we'll just pop it in here. But this is going to be my third column. So we're going to do the third column. And instead of a Google search, I'm going to do a YouTube search. So let's go ahead and do a YouTube search here. And now it's going to go in and it's going to create a 3-column table. It's going to create a link to a Google search and a link to a YouTube search. And we'll see how this really can become a great study plan. And I just chose penguins. It could be Python, Power Apps, could be a technical subject, could be a biology subject, whatever the case may be. And I want to make sure that Chat GPT understands me. So I'm going to say, if you understand what I'm asking, then type, and I'll just use some sort of emoji character in there, and we'll have it type, I don't know, how about well, you know what I could do? I could have it type a penguin. How about that? So we're going to have it type a little penguin. So if it understands what I want, it's going to type me a little penguin. And now I'm going to run this in ChatGPT. So it understood what I wanted. There's the little penguin proving that it knows what I'm asking for. And here it is generating that table for me. So now what I've created is a little study guide. So this is my little penguin study guide that I'm going to be able to go through, and you'll see that I've got each of the objectives. I'm going to study the anatomy and physiology of penguins, life cycle, different species, the ecology, the behavior, and the hands-on learning. And I have a Google search link and a YouTube search link. So if I was to copy and paste this into my learning journal, maybe a OneNote or a Notion template, then what I could do is I could click this link, and you'll see that here I am presented with a thing on the physiology, a Google search on the physiology of penguins. So I can learn about anatomy, I can learn about their biology, I can learn all about penguins from that Google search. Well, not all about penguins. I can learn about the anatomy and the physiology of penguins. And if I click on the YouTube search, this will go out to YouTube, and I'll be presented with a number of search results for penguins. So here I can go in, and you can see there's some cool things. Why penguins don't freeze. I always wondered that. That must have something to do with their anatomy and physiology. And they have hollow bones. That's what it is. I know a few things about penguins. So the idea is that we can go in here and imagine that this now becomes a study starter that I can then use in order to go into subjects more deeply. And I can start collecting these. So if I'm an instructor, if I'm a teacher, I can choose the areas that I want to cover for the semester, and I could create these search starters, a search of Google and a search of YouTube, to incorporate into my own lectures. I could go in if I'm an individual and I'm interested in maybe, learning something new. It's always tough to begin. Like, where do I start? Well, let's have ChatGPT give me a 5, 6, 7 step objective. And then what I can do is I can have that built into that table. So this becomes quite a useful table that I can then use with ChatGPT. And you might say, "Oh, well, this is very interesting, Frank. How did you come up with all these prompts and such?" Now, some of this stuff is, there are different groups out there for ChatGPT. So I've read some different articles and such on here. But I'm going to start a brand new chat. And one of the tools that I can use to get better with ChatGPT is ChatGPT. So I have a little bit more of a complex prompt that I wrote here. And this is based upon some articles and such that I've been reading as well from different focus groups, from different ChatGPT user groups that I've been in as well. So let me just go ahead here, and we'll just pop to my chats or to my notes. And feel free to comment down below if there's any questions you have. Or not just below, I suppose. It would be, feel free to comment in the chat while I log in here. Okay, so here's a writing prompt. So this is how I can get ChatGPT to actually help me write prompts for ChatGPT. So I can actually have the AI generate prompts that the AI likes. Let's have a look at how I can do that. So I'm going to first go in. Let's just zoom in so that you guys can see this nice and clearly. So the first thing I'm going to do is tell ChatGPT that it's going to help me. So I'm going to say, you are going to help me create some prompts and refine them for use with ChatGPT. So I'm just telling it it's going to help me create and refine prompts in there. And I'm going to say the objective. The objective is to find the best possible prompt. So we're going to find the best possible prompt for ChatGPT and it's going to meet my goals. And then we're going to tell it how we're going to do that. So then we're going to say, well, ChatGPT, we're going to use the following process. We will use the following process. So in this case here, we're having robots build robots, right? Or we're having the AI build the AI prompt. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow a process. The first thing we're going to do is the first response it provides. First response you provide. Oh, for heaven's sakes, typing and talking at the same time is always hard. But the first prompt, the first response you provide should ask me what the prompt is, what I want to learn. So I'm going to say what the prompt should be about. So what's going to happen here is ChatGPT is going to say, "Hey, what do you want me to create a prompt about?" And then I will respond. So I'll let you know. So I'll let ChatGPT know. So I'll respond, but we're not going to stop there. But we will work together. Me and ChatGPT, we're going to work together to improve my response by using some iterations. So we're going to response through iterations, and we're going to say using the next steps. Okay, so what I've said is, hey, ChatGPT, you're going to ask me what I want to create a prompt on. Then we're going to refine it. We're going to refine that prompt to make it the best possible prompt that I can ask you, and then you're going to execute that prompt. So the next step is then based upon my input, it's going to generate. You will generate 2 sections, and the sections are going to be 1, a revised prompt that is clear. So you're going to create a nice revised prompt that is clear, concise, and I'll be showing you something with this after I do this. I'll show you something else that's really cool. So it's going to be clear, concise, and easily understood. But because we're creating prompts for ChatGPT, it's going to be easily understood by ChatGPT. So it's going to create a prompt that it's going to revise it, and we're going to go through this process, and it's going to create a better and better prompts that it itself is going to be able to understand. And then what it's going to do is it's also going to give me questions, right? And I'm going to say you will ask any relevant questions. So you're going to ask any relevant questions pertaining to what additional information is needed in order for me to improve the prompt. In order to improve the prompt. So we're going to go through this series of steps where we're going to try to improve this prompt by going through a few times. And we're going to continue to do this. So we're going to, we will continue this iterative process. We're going to continue this iterative process with me providing answers and additional information. Say with me providing additional information. Additional information. Really see, like with ChatGPT, one of the things that we often do is we just ask it a simple question. But why not set up the parameters of how we're going to interact with it by doing this? Um, to get you, so I'm going to provide additional information to you and you updating the prompt in the revised prompt section until I say we're done. Otherwise, we'll be stuck here forever. Okay, so this is a fairly complex prompt in a way. It's basically me saying, hey, let's create some prompts. You're going to help me, ChatGPT. You're going to ask me what I want to learn about. You're going to continue to ask me questions. We're going to refine that process, and you're going to keep asking me questions about the prompt, asking me to get it clearer and clearer, clearer and clearer for you, for ChatGPT. So let's see what happens when I run this particular prompt. So we'll pop in here. Are you guys excited? I'm pretty excited. So we go in here, starting to generate the prompt, the response. So it's going in here and it's generating the response. I'll just go down here and it says, what would you like the prompt to be about? So I'll just go here. So let's get started. What would you like the prompt to be about? And maybe for this one, we'll choose another bird. Let's choose woodpeckers. Okay. So I'd like the prompt to be about woodpeckers. And it says, great choice. Based upon that, there are two sections we can work with. Tell me about woodpeckers and their unique features. So that would be a revised prompt. If that's good, tell me about woodpeckers and their unique features. I could just use that prompt, but it's not. I'm going to get a better prompt. Are there any specific types of woodpeckers I'd like to focus on? So for example, acorn woodpeckers or pileated woodpeckers. Would you like information on their behavior, habitat, diet, or any other aspect? Is there a specific angle or purpose for this prompt? Is it educational, scientific, or personal interest? Well, let's make a better prompt. So I will say for the woodpecker, I will say a red. I don't know if there's a red-breasted woodpecker. I don't know the names of woodpeckers. I'll just choose the one here. So I'll say an acorn woodpecker. I want the acorn woodpecker, and I want to know about its habitat and diet. Maybe I'm going to have a bird feeder or something. So I'm going to have a bird feeder and I'm going to feed a woodpecker. I guess I would just, feeding a woodpecker would be easy. You just have to go get some wood. Now, they eat bugs inside the wood. I know that, but let's see what ChatGPT tells me. And is there an angle or purpose for this? So I'm going to say this is personal interest as a bird watcher. So I'm a bird watcher and I want to learn all about woodpeckers as a wood. So now let's see what ChatGPT does. It's going to go through the iterative process. Hello, Rosworld. How's it going? It's going to go through the prompt and it's going to iterate on it again. So it's giving me another revised prompt. As a bird watcher interested in acorn woodpeckers, tell me about their habitat and diet. Is that a good prompt or do I want to go ahead and improve that some more? Well, maybe I want to find out about their behavior. So tell me about their behavior. Tell me about their behavior. I won't do a ton more. And I'll say for the second question here, tell me where they like to live. And then for the third question, are there any other aspects about their habitat and diet? And I'll say, can people feed them? Okay, so I'm going to go there. It's going to do another revised prompt. So now I'm just going to use this prompt. So here I said, as a bird watcher interested in acorn woodpeckers, tell me about their behavior, habitat, and whether or not people can feed them. So now I have a better prompt than if I just said, tell me about woodpeckers. Now, obviously, if we go into something that's a little bit more, different topics, we can go quite deep, but it's constantly coming and telling me things like, do you want to find out about their mating behavior, their foraging behavior? I can build this prompt bigger and better. So ChatGPT, in fact, is helping me create the ChatGPT prompt that's going to get me the results I want. And I said, here I'll say, we're good, run the prompt. So now I'm going to tell it to actually run the prompt that it itself has generated. And there we go. It's got, tell me about that. And so is this a good one? So here's your prompt. And I will say run the prompt. I may have to copy and paste it, but we'll go here and run the prompt. And there we go. So now it's going in, oh, Waka Waka calls. So there we go. So now it's telling me all sorts of things about the acorn woodpeckers. And now I've learned a little bit more. And this is a better or more tailored response because before I began, I trained ChatGPT to create a ChatGPT prompt. Now you might say, okay, that's a big prompt. I don't want to have to type that in every time. Well, you don't have to. So one of the things you can do is, of course, you can copy any prompts that you create. I actually keep a little diary of different prompts that I've created. Using this trackpad's giving me a little bit of grief here. Oh no. So I use, hopefully you can see this. I've lost my mouse. Okay, so let me find it here. So I can go in and I can actually, I can use, oh boy. There we go. So I can go in and I can copy this prompt and then I can put it into OneNote or into Notion or some other note-taking system. But now I'm going to show you something also really cool that we can do using a Chrome plugin for ChatGPT where I can save all of the prompts that I have, as well as look for community prompts, as well as develop prompts that can be like basically a prompt template. So let's have a look at that. So if I go into Chrome, there's an extension called AIPRM for ChatGPT. So if you look at here, so I'll zoom in here. So the extension that we're looking at here is called AIPRM, which are one-click prompts for ChatGPT. Now I've already installed this prompt, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on. Then I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. I'm going to go in and I'm going to start a new chat. And when I start a new chat, we'll just refresh this here. I now have that plugin in place. So there we go. So here you can see that it will use the AIPRM ChatGPT prompts. And you can see that there are a whole bunch of different prompts in here and I can search for them. So there's public prompts and there's my own prompts. So underneath my own prompt, I could go in, add a new prompt, and I could actually go ahead and save that prompt to create prompts. And I could say prompt to create prompts, prompt to refine prompts. And then what I can do is I can put keywords in there. I can give it a title and I call it prompt maker. Now I'm not going to share this in the world, so I'll just make this here. It actually falls into the category of maybe I can say it's, I'm unsure. It doesn't really fall into any of these categories. Maybe it's a little bit around productivity and it's for summarizing information. That's not great, but I'm not going to share it publicly and I can save that prompt. Oh, we'll go in here, keyword, prompt. Okay, and so if I save this prompt, I'm now going to go in. Oh, there's something in here. So in terms of this prompt, I have to clean it up a little bit. But you can save your own prompts in the AIPRM. You can also go to public prompts. So for example, if I want to go into public prompts, I could go into topics, and maybe I want to go into, I'll go into let's do SEO. So I'll do some SEO prompts in here. And I can choose by activity. And I could say, for example, I want to do some ideation prompts. So SEO ideation prompts. And I can search by, I'll just do top votes. So there is a ChatGPT plugin here that's been created. It has 2.5 thousand upvotes. It's got 337 plus comments on here. It's been viewed just about 500,000 times, 450,000 times. So let's go ahead and pop this in. So if I grab this particular prompt, so we can grab this here, I can go in and link to it, right? So I've got the copy to the clipboard. And now what I can do is down below here, you'll see that I have a keyword strategy. So once I selected that prompt, just scroll down so you can see that a bit better. I can choose the language that I want to output the results in. So I'll do them in English. There's several languages. I can set a tone. So for example, I could say I want this to be maybe a friendly tone. Well, not humorous. I like humorous, but we'll do friendly. And then the default writing style, I can say I want it to be, let's say, conversational. So I want an English friendly, conversational keyword strategy. And I'm going to put in my keyword, and my keyword is going to be, it can be double words, bird watching. So I'm going to do bird watching. And now what it's going to do is it's going to generate keyword searches for bird watching. So this would be great for SEO if I was going through and I was trying to develop, maybe I want to figure out where I should put a bird watching store, and I want to have an online bird watching store, maybe some physical bird watching stores. Here are some of my keyword tools that I can use in order to go through to find, SEO or search engine optimization, a content plan around bird watching basics, bird watching gear, bird watching species, and conservation. So this would, for example, let's say I want to become authoritative for a certain area in bird watching. Let's say I want to become authoritative for bird watching in the southern Canadian Rocky Mountains. I could go in and I could say, let's get some basics in there. Of course, I could put in, links to products that could then be sold on Amazon. I could get a commission, affiliate links, and that sort of stuff. So bird watching basics, how to do bird watching. So that's informational. I have bird watching gear, right? So I can, best bird watching cameras, top 5 bird watching binocular harnesses for comfortable viewing, bird watching species, right? The ultimate guide to hummingbirds. So, and these are things that people are very interested in. People like hummingbirds and owls, I guess, and bald eagles. And I could go in here and I could promote conservation as well. But that was all done without me having to really write anything except bird watching. So if I go in here and I start a new conversation, so let me just zoom in here, I'll do a new chat. I could go in and I could, choose something like, copywriting. I could say I want to do something copywriting on, let's do some script writing and YouTube script creator. I'm done for now. I don't use a YouTube, but I'll do killer titles. So underneath here, the topic of my video is going to be ChatGPT, and you guys have to tell me if these titles resonate with you. This is brutal. So underneath here, ChatGPT. So there we go. Maybe these are the titles I should have used for the live stream. ChatGPT's top 10 tips for crushing your goals. Some of these are a little clickbaity for my liking. My channel tends to be a little bit more, not quite as clickbaity, I hope. But for now that I have this title generator, watch out, everyone. So there we go. So we've talked about 3 things this evening that I thought would be really interesting for you. The first thing was using ChatGPT to create a personalized lesson plan, a personalized study plan, not just a list of topics to study, but actual links to where I can find out more about those topics. And I could have easily added in more columns. I just did first of all, it generated what I should learn, the 6 objectives. I then clarified those objectives in shorter terms, less than 7 words. I then went in and got links to a Google search and a YouTube search. I could have easily have done a 4th column that would have had something like a link to available courses on that subject area. Now, we did that. And then what we did is we went in and we did something kind of meta. We said, let's have ChatGPT develop better prompts through an iterative process using ChatGPT. So that was cool. So basically what happened is I just said, this is what I want to develop a prompt about. And it asked me questions. It kept asking me questions to refine, so I could really narrow down exactly what that prompt should be. And then when I was comfortable with that prompt, and I know that prompt would be understood by ChatGPT, because that was one of the parameters, then I said, go ahead and run the prompt, and I got something more in line with what I really wanted. And then the third thing was the AI PRT plugin, where I could go, and it's only for Google Chrome. So I could go into Google Chrome and I could see a number of public prompts where I could just put in a single word. I could go in and set a few parameters like language, tonality, the objective behind it. And then I was able to go in and find a bunch of public prompts, and I was able to put in a topic, like, for example, the keyword research on bird watching. And really, that's a great plan for SEO around that particular subject area. Now, you'll notice in every one of these cases, I'm not asking ChatGPT to do something for me. There's a million videos out there right now about get ChatGPT to, bathe your children and walk your dog. I really want ChatGPT to be a research assistant or a teaching assistant or a learning assistant. Someone, I'm personifying it. Anthropomorphism of the chat GPT. What I want to do is I want to have something where I can basically have a conversation with something, the AI, that helps me refine my own thought processes. I'm not looking for it to be the thought processes. I'm not looking for it to be creative for me. I'm not looking for it to do the work that I want to do. I'm looking for it to help guide me so that I have the resources and the direction that I want to go in. And I think that's the power of things like a conversational AI. And I'm excited to see these conversational AIs get integrated to products that we're used to using, such as Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Word, definitely the Microsoft Office stack. I'm very interested to see these help us automate procedures. So, for example, if I want to automate something like a Power Automation, where I do an invoicing stream, where I say, here's how the invoice is going to pass through an organization, I can take existing procedures in an organization. I want to have a sip of my coffee. Sitting there waiting to have a sip of my coffee. I want to take existing procedures, put them into Chat GPT and say, look, can you tell me, how can I refine this procedure? Are there opportunities to make this more efficient or to automate aspects of it? So that's really the goal of what tonight was. I hope that was interesting for you. If you're watching it in real time, thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching this after the fact, go ahead and post any comments that you might have below the video. Ask me any questions you might have or thoughts that you might have. I'll see if I can put some links in there to some of the resources in there. And certainly the most important thing, of course, is give it a like. Or, if there was a penguin button, I'm sure I would have that. But give it a like button, give it a thumbs up. That really helps the good old YouTube algorithm let people find this. And I hope that you'll join me. I'm going to try to do these live streams probably every Sunday, at least for the foreseeable future, as a way of just sort of having a conversation. And don't worry, Christine, Christina, it's all recorded. It'll be on YouTube in a few moments. And I do think it's something that you'll find beneficial. I like it a lot, especially because I think it really empowers you. So little foreshadowing of the past, right? Of what you can watch if you head over to YouTube in about 5 or 10 minutes. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys will join me next Sunday and some subsequent Sundays. And I have some exciting news next Sunday about some opportunities for helping you get some certifications. So I'm going to be looking at some industry certifications, and we're going to be developing some cohorts of people that I'm going to help train to learn how to get certain certifications through some online training that I'm going to offer on a fairly regular basis, and hopefully that'll be of interest to you. We're going to be launching. I'll give you a little preview. We're going to be launching the Summit Tech Academy, and the Summit Tech Academy should be. Make more announcements about the Summit Tech Academy next week, next Sunday. I hope that you'll join me then. Take care. Have a good night, everyone. And Christina, don't worry. Go check it out on YouTube. Okay? And ask me any questions you might have. I'm more than happy to answer them offline with the comment section below the video. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.